Next one comes from Darian 416 on Twitter. They DM'd us and
Yeah.
said, "Hey boys, Red Sox clearly need a rebuild. Boston might legit turn into a bottom tier team if Xander Bogaerts moves on. Plus, their pitching and bullpen is for sure so bad. Unless they open that checkbook and go wild, I think we could see them in the 12 to 15 range record wise in the AL East for a good 2 more years. This You're stumbling me up here with your wording here. I think we could see them in the 12 to 15 range record wise. What is that?
In the AL is my guess.
Oh, record wise. Gotcha. I was thinking 12 to 15 wins. Sorry, I'm still a little foggy because of this sickness, so
All
I'm
good. I get
I'm
what he's saying. So the 12 to
it makes
12 to
sense. It makes
15
sense.
teams in the AL, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So
Uh
like a bottom 4 team in the American League. Gotcha.
this is an interesting comment, and it's almost tough to argue with. You look at this Boston Red Sox team and how poorly the Trevor Story signing wound up going for them. He wound up not playing good ball until it was almost too late last season. Their pitching has not been very good. Chris Sale just never wound up returning to form or staying healthy. He might be right, man. I don't know how you feel about it, but maybe a rebuild truly is the best thing this Boston Red Sox team can do. Now, they are in a market that probably will lose their mind over that. But if you just look at where they're at, they've got so much money on the books that's doing nothing.
I mean,
JD Martinez is headed out. I don't know, man. Where are you at? Do you think the Red Sox could literally be a bottom feeding team this year, or do you think that they'll spend?
I don't know. If I'm going to be honest, I'm not too familiar with what the like AAA next wave of prospects is like for the Boston
Yeah,
Red Sox. For all I know,
same.
they've got a Bo and a Vladdy that are going to come up next year, and maybe the plan is to spend. I don't think you go. I know the Trevor Story deal looks bad right now, like you said. Look better towards the end of the year.
Yes, it did.
I just I like the idea of them being a dead last team. I just have a hard time actually visualizing that.
Mm-hmm.
This does feel like a team that is going to make moves. Like who knows? Maybe they move Trevor Story to second base and they go get Carlos Correa. We got a new Texas Rangers situation, right? Like they've got money to
100%.
spend.
They do have money.
I don't know. It's maybe if there's a Red Sox fan who stumbles backwards into this video by chance, they can educate us on why the Red Sox are poised for a massive bounce back in 2023. I hope it's not a true story, but
So my first cousin, shout out to Cody, huge Red Sox fan. Like it's one of the things we've bonded about in our adult life is just constantly shit
of
talking
course,
each other over
of
text, right?
course.
And he is not very hopeful for
Oh,
2023. He does not have a lot of faith in Shane Bloom and this Red Sox front office.
okay.
He's not overly hyped on their farm system. They do have a few prospects worth keeping an eye on, but nothing like you said, where it's like the next wave.
I'm
The
loving
Red
what I'm
Sox could
hearing.
be
Shout
the
out
Red
to
Sox could
Cody.
be yeah, the Red Sox could be in some trouble, man. We're going to need to wait
Okay.
and find out what they do in the offseason. Obviously, until
All
all the
right.
moves are done, it's tough to actually make a educated guess on where they land in the AL. But if you're just looking at this team as is, I think that Darian could be correct that they might be in that bottom rung with Kansas City. And, you know, I don't know, man. We'll need to wait and see.
Well, love it. AL East in general. Do the Orioles take another step forward this year? We know the Yankees are going to be good. We know the Rays are going to be good. Knock on wood, the Blue Jays are going to be good. Right? We're talking 90 plus wins for those three teams. Lock it
I would
in,
say that's, yeah.
right? Lock it in. Baltimore Orioles, they were knocking on the door last year.
Yeah, they finished a little above 500. I think it was, what,
Yeah,
83 and 81 or something like
something
that.
like
But
that.
yeah, yeah.
Um, do you think they can push 88, 89 wins? Do you think they have the appetite to go out and spend in free agency?
This is, I
Go
think,
get a
what's
guy.
going to make the difference is if the Orioles are actually spenders, as some of the speculation has them being, and they are actually going to go out and get a guy like Carlos Correa, who they have been tied to. Yeah, I think they could take another step forward, especially if they bolster their pitching a little bit. Personally, if they don't make any big moves, I think they take a step back. I can't see their pitching being as good as it was last year. I could be completely out to lunch here, but I
Okay.
think that they need to bolster this roster to see another step forward.
I,
Where are
I
you at?
I think they're going to make some aggressive moves this offseason.
I kind of get that feeling too.
I feel like they are right at the, they just called up Adley Rutschman. He looks legit. He looks like might be the best catcher in all of baseball. And this is coming from a team that has three really good catchers,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, as a good young core, this is the time to
Add.
capitalize, right? So
And they've got almost no money on the books. Like
that's the thing.
they
They're one of the lowest salaried teams in all of baseball. I think this is like the ideal rebuild strategy for any of these bad teams, whether you're the Marlins or you're whoever, right? Like if you have any sort of a budget, but you're being cheap because your team is bad, is that like you look for a guy in the draft or via trade, a prospect who has that like Hall of Fame trajectory, right? And
right.
then you just wait until one of them makes their debut and isn't Jared Kalenic, right? Like a guy who makes that transition to the MLB, doesn't skip a beat, looks elite from day one, and then you go, okay, now we go. And that's when you open the checkbook. And, that's what the Blue Jays have been doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time for the Orioles to follow suit. And that's frustrating for me.
It seems to be what everyone is saying will happen too. So if it doesn't, it's not that the Orioles haven't kicked cans. They just didn't find the fit that they wanted.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think that the Orioles are going to be very active in the next couple months, and I think we could see them make a really big splash that surprises the entire league because they haven't spent over the last years. And if you go back in history, they do have a tendency to spend when they need to. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like they haven't bucked up before.
Yeah.
Could be interesting.
I said it last year. I'll say it again. Carlos Correa to the Baltimore Orioles.
Mm-hmm.
That front office. I can't think of his
There's
name off the
ties
top of my
there.
head, but he was, I think, the president or the GM of the Astros when they drafted Correa. Now he's in the Orioles. I don't know. It makes sense. He's a good fit. They have the money to spend. Now is the time to spend.
We really appreciate all of you within the walk-off community. This thing continues to grow and become an animal of its own. It's a little bit overwhelming, but honestly, we love talking Blue Jays baseball and all the interaction that you folks are involved with us. Thank you so much. Discord, feel free to join it. That is always free. The show or the link is in the show notes. You can follow us on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast, on Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast. And if you are watching on YouTube currently and you're not subscribed, we'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. All the best, everybody. Cheers.